Bishop here with Soul Heart Collaboration for the Infinite Possibilities Treat, October 4th, 5th, and 6th, 2024. I am here to talk with Jo Self. So excited. Jo is currently living in Mexico, and well, I guess it's what your Facebook page is, Discover Jo Self. I love that. I love that. I love you. I'm so grateful that we were connected. And let's just learn a little bit more about you. Tell us a
Yeah,
little bit
happy
about you.
to. Thanks for having me. I'm super excited to participate.
We're just grateful to have you. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us a little bit about your platform. Who are you? Yeah, that kind of thing.
So as you can see down there, it says Strengths Advocate, and you might wonder what that is. So we'll just go straight into this point. I am a Gallup Certified Coach by title. I generally refer to myself as a strengths guru or a strengths advocate because Clifton Strengths, which used to be known as Strengths Finder, so a lot of people might know it by Strengths Finder still, is an assessment you can take which measures 34 talent themes. So 34 ways all of us are. And most of us are 10 to 15 dominant talents, which is how we can put a language around our intrinsic needs, motivations, desires, dislikes, all of that. And so all of those things, when people say, gosh, Jamie, why do you smile all the time? And you go, I don't know. Doesn't everybody smile? I didn't know that was a bad thing. When was it a bad thing to smile? I have no idea. And you go, oh, I have positivity as a talent. Right. That's why I smile all the time. It's important to me to do these things. And you go, oh, right. So I work with people to, principally my work is evolving quite a bit right now, but for 9 years, a lot of what I've been doing is working with personal branding and messaging for service-based entrepreneurs so that they can make sure they put themselves out there and get it right before it goes wrong. Because so many times we try to do things the way other people tell us to do them that don't fit us naturally. And then we think we're failing. You're not failing. You're just not doing it the way that's going to work for you. Yeah. And so strengths really helps us understand that. And now I am evolving a bit and moving a lot more into community and team building with strengths to use communication through the talents as a neutral language. To build better relationships and partnerships with others.
I love that. All right. So where do we start with all that? Because there's so much there, so much to unpack.
I know.
When you're looking for somebody who, I feel like you're somebody who would invite intrigue into the relationship. Like people who first see you might be like, she's intriguing. I need to get to know a little bit more about what she's doing in the world. Is that accurate?
I think so. I am one of those people that I know the best way for someone to choose whether they're going to hire me or work with me or not is to have an experience of me. And so I invite a lot of conversation. I know there's a lot of coaches out there that are like, you don't get to pick my brain. If you want to pick my brain, you can pay me for it. I'm like, oh my God, pick my brain. Like, I just pick my brain. Why are we like arguing over this? I have ideation as a talent and I've got so many ideas. There's no way I could ever make them all come true. So if I can share an idea that is exactly the fuel you need to be successful or do what you need to do, then by God, here.
Yes.
So I offer webinars. I offer webinars twice a month that are free, that are open to anyone. You don't have to know strengths, but many of them are strengths oriented. But you don't have to be a strengths coach. You can just be someone who's interested in personal development and wanting to learn more about your own talents. And those same activities are just as useful for you. So if you don't necessarily have the budget for a coach, you can pay as little as $5 to get the recordings and everything. It's kind of like a Patreon community, but they're free to attend.
Love that.
So it's out there for anybody who wants to have more of an experience with it.
I love that. I love that. And the strengths test, I have taken it, obviously. Jo and I met and I was like, oh, I need to know more about that.
Yeah.
So I took it. It's very easy. It's very, I don't want to say typical of a psychological profile, but on the same token, it kind of is. It asks some similar questions just to kind of put what you're top strengths are, right? And then
Right.
kind of what we're a little bit weaker on. And weak doesn't mean that you don't have talent or can't hone those skills, by the way, right?
Right. Right. And just because it's number 34 doesn't mean like you're never going to be able to do that. My number 34 is harmony. I like a win-win as much as anybody else, but harmony is not a motivating driver for me.
Yes,
I
that's
get there differently. So our weaknesses are actually in our talents. So like my communication is a talent. Well, where is it a weakness? When I don't shut up and listen very well, or when I interrupt because I want to finish your sentence to go, I know exactly what you're trying to say. That's when it's a weakness, right? So
I
it's
know nothing
me.
about that.
Yes, I know we wouldn't possibly understand that at all, but it's really understanding that, and then it's being able to be more intentional about it. So what it is raising awareness. So I don't know that I've never had anybody take the assessment and go, wow, I was really shocked by what it said about me. Most people are like, oh my gosh, how does it know me so well?
Right, just from answering a few
Just from
questions.
answering those questions.
Absolutely.
And on top of that, it to find someone else who shares just your top 5 talents in any order is 1 in 278,000. So when you have something like Myers-Briggs or DISC, you have, 16 profiles or 24 profiles, like you've got a very limited number of profiles that you can do, which are great. But strengths to me is the foundation that you start with to build and make sense of the other assessments on top of it.
Yes, I agree. I agree. It definitely honed in a little bit
Yeah.
more,
Yeah.
fine-tuned, I guess, is
Yeah.
the way I would describe it. When it comes to how you teach this, like what is your go-to methodology? Like, do you like having visuals? Do you like having, tell us a little bit more about how you teach.
So I have a course. First of all, I am known probably in the strengths world for my practicality and sharing strengths in layman's terms. It was the same thing when I used to be a wine trainer. Like I was never talking about the aroma of cassis. Like I was like, does anybody smell Fruit Loops? Right? Like I just want you to really have an experience that you can relate to. So that's probably one of the things I do a little bit differently than other coaches out there. But my go-to is a program called The Language of You. And I use that program that can be, it's very flexible in how I do it. But what it essentially does is it helps someone really claim their talents and then start to weave a fabric together that includes their motivations, their skills, their value system. And really, it's to create a glossary of who you are. So when somebody says, why do you do that? Or how do you do that? You go, oh, this is how, and this is the value I bring to the table, whether that's the value you bring to a relationship or the value you bring to a team or the value you bring to your own business. You now know what that is and have several different ways of saying it.
Love that. Love that. Love that. When, and not to focus on weaknesses, but of course
No,
it's the
but
thing, it's the
that's what
thing
most people
I think.
do.
I, well, so for me, when I was first reading my thing, I was like, okay, who in my life counterbalances my weaknesses with their strengths? And how does that show up for me? Because I'm, very much an analyzer of especially relationships. So tell us more about that.
So what's really beautiful about this is we can start to see the dynamic. So the first thing I would say is if you take the assessment, the first thing you should do is share it with someone close to you. Because when you do that, you're going to hear 2 things. You're going to hear, oh, yep, that's totally you. Yep, nope, spot on. That is you. And then you're going to hear, oh, that's why you do that. Right. So it brings this clarity to the table. I'm actually working with a couple right now. This happens in teams and couples. This is why I love that space where I'm moving a little bit more into that communication space. One of my books is on communication styles. And so I've been working with a couple that's been married for 44 years, and they hired me to kind of get through this season of their marriage because they've been having some challenges. And I thought, you guys have been married for 44 years. I think you got this worked out. Like, I feel like you figured out what the key to success is. And they're like, no, no, we need some help. And I'm like, all right. And so we went in and really by looking at their strengths, they're like, oh, that's why that annoys me about her. Or, oh, that's why that drives me nuts about him. But then they figured out how to come together and go, this is where we balance each other, learn to see it as a compliment, And the thing I love to refer to is like, and this comes from my own experience in relationships, especially my last relationship, where I kept getting asked, when are you ever going to change X? And I would go, I don't know that that's going to change. Now, can we modify our behavior when it's having a negative impact? Yes, probably. Are we going to be able to change it? There's this great elementary school teacher that says if they can't change it in 30 seconds, the chances of them being able to change it are pretty slim. Like how to say nice things to people and not say hurtful things, right? But I think it's also that, when are you going to stop being so independent? 51 years old. I don't see that happening. However,
Not
can
soon.
I maybe ask for your help more often? Can I be more proactive on certain things? Then yes, those things I can do, right? And so I can do my best to create more of an interdependent relationship versus showing up in a way that feels independent to that person, which doesn't to me, but does to them. So how do we adjust it? And I always liken it to the, toilet paper, over or under. I'm never going to be an under toilet paper girl. But I no longer walk into people's homes and change it for them because it annoys me. I have learned to accept that some people are under people. Does it still annoy me?
So great.
Yes, but I accept that not everyone is an over. And a lot of times those people have cats that do this, and that's why they're not an over. And when a girlfriend pointed that out to me, did you change my toilet paper? I said, yeah, why? And she was like, I had cats. And I went, well, I have cats too. And she's like, my cats do this. And I end up with toilet paper all over the floor. And I was like, oh, okay,
Yes.
maybe I will stop changing everybody's toilet paper around the world. Right.
I
So to
love
me,
that
it's like,
example.
I accept it. It doesn't stop being annoying,
Right.
but it's not
Right.
about me. So I can let it go. I can
Oh
accept
my
that
gosh.
that just comes with the territory.
Love that.
Right.
Love that. So going with that theme, when you are coaching, and I love that you're working with somebody who's been married 44 years. Good for them. That's why they've been married
Yeah.
44 years, because they know, like, something's not quite working right now. We need a little outside perspective on this.
Yeah.
And I love
Yeah.
that. That's why they've been together that long, y'all.
Exactly.
But when you do work with people, whether it's in a group or whether it's in a dynamic situation, what is it that you're focusing them on, or what is it that you're trying to, what is it that you're wanting them to learn or take away from that experience?
My favorite response when someone finishes the language of you, and has been overwhelmingly a shared response from many people, is, oh, I finally feel like I have permission to be me.
Oh,
It is not, for me, a lot of people think they lack self-confidence, right? We all deal with imposter syndrome. And even when we know who we are, we still have imposter syndrome. But that's because we don't value who we are. And so self-awareness is only a piece of the puzzle. To me, a lack of self-confidence is not the problem. It is a symptom of not valuing what we know about ourselves. And so putting those two things together, which is what the language of you helps you do, helps you finally show up in a way that feels good and can help you look at the naysayers and go, well, that's an interesting perspective. I do not share it, and this is why. And you are welcome to have your perspective. And that's why I'm moving so much into more community building, to rebuild the village and reconnect us out there so that we stop sort of creating these social silos. Yes. Based on believing that you're supposed to think like me, talk like me, do like me, believe like me. No, but that doesn't mean you're not bringing something beautiful to the world. It's just different than what I'm bringing, and we need it all.
that love. Okay, you're totally speaking my language now. I mean, you have been all along.
This is how we ended up in each other's world, right?
Exactly, exactly. So when it comes to one last question about business, and then we'll get to some fun stuff. When it comes to walking people through, I love that people leave with a deeper sense of self and permission to feel like they can express who they truly are. When it comes to walking away with that, what is some of the feedback that you've received from some of those people? after, like if you were to reconnect like a year later, how that has impacted them.
I have people who did this program when I first launched it 8, 9 years ago that will still talk about it with friends. And when they're applying for a new job, they pull out their language of you workbook, they pull those phrases, they rebuild their cover letter, they do their resumes based on what that is. So when they're applying for the job, they find the phrases they've come up with and what they've done to recreate that. People use it for their about yous, they use it for their marketing pieces. People go back and revisit it. That's the nice thing. And a lot of coaches, because of the way I structure everything, when you've done that program with me, if you're using strengths and it makes sense to you, run with it. So it becomes your program to run.
Love it.
Because I can't coach 8 billion people.
Right. Oh my gosh, so true.
I don't want to coach 8 billion people either, but I
you.
can't do it. So if you loved this, if it worked for you and it saves you from having to start a framework from scratch,
Yeah,
here.
I love that. Love that.
Yeah.
Love that. Love that. So very true. And I love that you have a program in place to help people initially, but also to support them as they continue to learn and grow.
Right. And it's a program that has multiple uses, right? It's called the language of you, but you can aim it at what is your leadership style? You can aim at it, what's your parenting style? You can aim it at how do we look at each other as a community of a volunteer organization? How do I show as a volunteer what's important to me? So it's really got some layers to it that allow it to also be applicable in a lot of different spaces. So when coaches take it, they can take it any direction they want to, really.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. Yay, 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 yay. Love, 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 love this conversation. Love what you do. So excited to learn more at the upcoming retreat.
Yeah.
Just to pivot completely away from business so that we can learn a little bit about Jo herself.
Sure.
Um, let's see. If you were to go anywhere in the world, like a bucket list travel location and destination, where would you go? Why would you go? And what would you do while you're there?
Bucket list, the first place that comes to mind is Croatia.
Okay.
Haven't been. The beaches look beautiful. I'm not even really a beach person, but the beaches look absolutely spectacular. I've heard the food is pretty good. I'm a weird traveler. I did Paris in 6 hours. Got on we get in the like train and we're like, look, it's the Arc de Triomphe. Click. Look, it's the Eiffel Tower. Click. Look, it's the Louvre. Click. Had a hot chocolate. And like, I was done. I was fine. But we went to lots of little dives and restaurants and bars. And like, I could eat my way through any city. Like, I just like progressive dining and meeting people and trying the food. And to me, the culture is in all of those like neighborhood gathering spots. Yeah. So that's probably all I would do in Croatia if I did it.
Love it, love it. So more about local experience rather than
all local experience. I want to be invited to your house to have dinner and meet your grandmother. Like, I don't
love that.
Need to go see I mean, it's nice to see the big sites. It's kind of like, you mean you went all that way and you didn't do this? And I'm like, yeah, I know, but that's me.
I agree. And you're not the only one of my speakers who have said that during this summit experience. So that's very interesting.
Yeah.
If you were a color or a pattern, what would you be?
Ooh. Orange is my favorite color. It's part of my business. I know it sounds weird. It's like, believe it or not, I did not like pink growing up. I thought pink was too girly. I have now had pink for 19 years in my hair. So go figure. But my favorite color is orange. Orange is warmth. Orange is the color of communication. Orange is friendly. Orange wraps you in a blanket. I just love orange. I think I would like to be orange. That's why I picked it for my business.
I love it. Love it, love it, love it, and relate to it as well. Awesome. Well, Jo, if somebody wants to reach out to you and find out more about what you do and how you do it, how do they reach you?
Best way to reach me, you can go to either of my websites. I have 2 websites. One is personal, one is around the community building. You can visit at discoverjoself.com, or you can go to practicalstrengths.org, or you can also just write me at discoverjoeself.com, and happy to start a conversation.
Beautiful. Love, love, love that. So if you have not already purchased tickets for the Infinite Possibilities retreat coming up in October, you will want to reach out directly to Joe Self, so discoverjoeself.com, or you can visit the soulheartcollaboration.com website to learn more about it. Thank you so much, Joe, for this beautiful, lovely interview. I cannot wait for your little mini coursework.
Yeah.
Flash of information. I have a
Flash of
feeling it's gonna be
information
like,
on strengths. I'll try to slow it down. That's my communication. I can go too fast because I just want you to get it all.
I know, I totally get it, and I feel the
Yeah.
same way. Anywho, thank you for the interview, and we look forward to seeing you in October.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Thanks so much.